only cars here today, but we've got some motorbikes as well on display. Ian Grote, bring you along all these wonderful bikes of yours, and so much interest from the crowds and a lot of noise as well.
Yeah, I think that really, this is history. And they were only bikes you could buy for Grand Prix, Dave, for I think about 1945 to 1961. You could buy no other production racer. So they're really quite refined. I mean, they do 240Ks, they've got no brakes. They're pretty scary, if you really want to ride fast on them. Peter's very good on them. Jimmy Guthrie, Jim Redmond. I've had them all on the bike. Paddy Driver, everybody, all the greats.
Chris, fantastic to have you here once again in South Africa. You've brought an incredible field of cars. Take us through the whole association and now this new partnership with Swartkops.
Yeah, well, this is good to be here again. I've come many times with sports cars before, and I have not racing this year, so I've been organising and with the Historic Grand Prix Association, and we decided last year when we were here we'd bring a grid of cars. And we've got 19 cars here this weekend, which is good. We go right back to the pre-war cars, the ERAs and Maseratis and that, all from the 30s. So we have a very diverse section of cars.
And 19 of them here today, so it's going to be an interesting bit of format today, that's for sure. Majority of these cars have raced here in South Africa and in their time, and that's due to the fact that, of course, South Africa was one of the only countries in the world that had a national Formula One championship. We're going to be having a look to see as we go on board here with Eddie Perk, one of the organisers of this event, and alongside with Chris Williams has put this entire field together as they head down into turn one. Great to see these magnificent cars in full flight, and there's some real exotic examples. That Alta, the number 21 car there, originally piloted by Tony Maggs and Ernst Pieterse, the Heron Alta there, of course, now pushing hard in the mid-pack and putting the pressure on right from the word go. Battles at the front will be pretty intense, there's no doubt about it. They're not going to hold back, and that's one really cool aspect about this racing. These guys do not hold back. They put on a race of note. Interesting to see that a lot of Lotus out there, and remember the Formula One car with the front engine that Colin Chapman designed has had some transmission issues and couldn't quite get out onto the circuit today. And hopefully we'll be ready for the next outing down in Cape Town. Battles continue here through the field, and the 21 car now starting to put in some pressure. 22 up there as well as Peter Horseman, that's a Lotus 18. Really incredible stuff. The 10 car now moving through, and Will Nuttall applying pressure, trying to find a way through there on Beaumont. Now Andrew Beaumont piloting a 2.5 litre Formula One. It's in that light green. It's the Innes Island colours from the Grand Prix and 9-hour stages, and now being demoted down into second place. As we see coming out of pit lane, a couple of guys with a few adjustments being made on their cars. 28 car there in the thick of it as well, and that is Jeff Underwood in a Cooper T56. It's got an Alfa Romeo engine in it. You can see it's also looking pretty good down into turn 2. Great to have all these cars out there. Rod Jolly in the mix as well. He's sitting in the number 2 car there. The 37 car now starting to put a pressure on there, and you can see Eddie Perk slowly but surely making his way to the front end. He's just on the back end there of Brad Hoyt. And Brad Hoyt piloting that incredible Sid van der Vyver Lotus 18. Speaking of pilots, well, there's the 250F, that's the Maserati, an incredible car here, driven originally by the likes of Juan Manuel Fangio and Sir Sterling Moss, and today piloted by the Belgian driver, Christian Dumoulin.
Oh no, this is quite a famous car. It's a Maserati 250F, the first Formula One cars, and those car was driven by Sterling Moss in Monaco. I think it's the first time that the Maserati 250F is in South Africa, so I'm very proud that I can take this car with me.
It is phenomenal to have that car, and a lot of interest in it down in pit lane. Right now at the front end, checkered flags about to come out for Will Nuttall, and definitely no relation there to either Graham or Damon Hill. But a great drive from him in the Cooper T53. Taking the victory there over Andrew Beaumont, who comes through in the Lotus 18. Horsman in third place, beating out Chris Dake. Rod Jolly made his way up into fifth. A good drive from Perk, Hoyt and Stays for the top 8. Not a lot of work to be done with these very well-prepared cars. Unfortunately, that car, though, is not going to make it out. That's the front-engine Lotus we spoke about earlier on, and doesn't look like they're going to be able to get back onto the track. A lot of adjustments here and there, maybe some tyre pressure adjustments as the lights go out now for race number 2. Oh, stuck on the line. Looks like the Maserati 250F didn't quite get off the line as well as what Christian Dumoulin wanted. It looked like in the background as well, the 27 car there of Steve Hart piloting Chris Wilson's car and having some fun and games in this big pack. There's Ian Nuttall And he's, of course, the son there to Will, and they're having some fun. Oh, sideways from the 42 car. Absolutely lit up there, which is fantastic to see. James Willis in that Cooper T45, not holding anything back and getting through turn 2 on cold tyres and realizing those tyres are still cold. The 9-1 of Chris Drake, definitely a car to be watching out for as well as he comes through there. That Cooper T71, a Ford-powered Cooper, as they get up onto the braking markers. Yet again at the front end, Will Nuttall, and having some fun and games of his own. Look at how he's starting to slide that car around on those big, treaded race tyres. And as they start to come into the thick of it there, in the background, just keep an eye on that 27 car there of Steve Hart. The Cooper Maserati, the Cooper 5.1 Maserati to be honest. And Cooper, of course, synonymous in Formula 1 and developed by the incredible driver, Jack Brabham. Down in pit lane, though, we caught up with Steve Hart to chat about his car.
I've been very fortunate that I can drive this Cooper with the Maserati engine. It's super fun to drive. I came out here about 6-7 years ago with it, and we had a lot of fun with it then in a single-seater race. But this year we've come with a group of our cars that we normally race with, and yeah, it's nice to be back. I've been here before with McLaren and GT40, and that's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it's nice to come out here and see you guys, and you're always so welcoming, and it's great to be here really. So the weather's better than back home.
The weather is perfect for this type of racing, and you can see that as we mentioned at the beginning of the race, they hold nothing back. And the Historic Grand Prix Association drivers and cars are putting on a spectacular show here at Zwartkops. 250F now applying pressure onto the 9 car there of Stefan Jobst, and that T45 Cooper with a bit of pressure now coming from that front engine Maserati. And great to see that even at the back of the field, the battles continue. There's Steve now in the 27 car, and he's got a bit of pressure coming from the back end there by Perk and Brad Hoyt. Almost to the closing stages here, and the flag about to come out yet again for Will Nuttall. A double victory on the day for him. He comes through just to outgun, looks like the LDS Alfa Romeo, and once again Ian Nuttall just in the background as well. So a superb effort there from all of our Historic Grand Prix Association cars. Fantastic to have them here at the Passion for Speed Festival. We look forward to them coming back next year as Nuttall takes the victory over horseman Andrew Beaumont Drake. Then it was Justin Mayers, Jolly Hart and Eddie Perk making up the top 8. Let's catch up with our double winner there, Will Nuttall.
Well, I started from second position in the HGPCA race. Took a couple of laps to get by for first, and then not too bad after that, although they got a lot of oil on the circuit later on, which made it a bit harder for everybody. And then a few back markers, but luckily always had a bit of a gap after the first few laps, which always helps.